Hello everyone. Welcome Pipus Maximus. Midra's theme is by far the best in the entire game. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's definitely one of the better ones. So, welcome Larry. What's poppin'? Nothing much. I'm about to head out for the holidays, so I won't be back until January, so this will be the final stream before the new year. So I just wanted to get a little bit done. So we ended up going down into the crater, and we're going to go through some Nokron. And I think last time we were talking about the connection between the Nox and the Horn Scent, which I think definitely there's something going on there, and I'm still not sure exactly what that connection is. But at least architecturally there's a connection there. Also, Zuli released a video talking about the change that occurred in one of the patches for the DLC, which changed the Watchful Spirit description from calling the Grandam Empyrean Grandam to Hornscent Grandam, and apparently it seems that there are sort of flags in the files which refer to the Hornscent as Empyreans. So that's another little wrinkle. Welcome JJ Dundas and Galamoth. Nothing beats the Elden Beast theme. Yeah, I'd say Elden Beast is probably my favorite. Crazy tracking. All Hornscent are Empyreans confirmed. Potentially. Welcome King and Row. Quasi Dingo. Glad you enjoyed the podcast. I do think one thing, when we were talking on the podcast about Metier and the Glomide Queen and that connection, I do think one thing which didn't occur to me to say right in that moment was that the Glomide Queen was said to be an Empyrean chosen by the Fingers, which would kind of put to rest the idea that she was Metier. But there's clearly some connection between, well, clearly, I think there's a connection between Metier and the Glomide Queen. I think that's what the fingerprint design indicates. So what that is, I don't know. I suspect it's more like the Hornscent proclaim themselves as the Empyrean race due to their entire culture being all about reaching divinity. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the... I mean, I just don't know what being an Empyrean really means. Wasn't there a theory that the Glomide Queen was to Marika as what Saint Trina was to Mikola? Yeah, I mean, I've suggested as much in the past. I think it gets more complicated because of Radigan. I mean, some of the more crazy theories that I've had are things like Radigan is the Glomide Queen. Or even Renala. And there's a surprising amount of evidence that could be levied in support of that. I mean, for one, there's the preceptors. They hold a secret. What is that secret exactly? I mean, everybody's assumed it is that Radigan is America. Well, it could be something else. They have these twin serpent designs. I actually forgot I could jump there. I've been playing some DS3 off stream. I just literally forgot that I could jump in this game. I was thinking, damn, why did they put a mushroom right up there that I can't get to? That's wild. One way or another, Empyrean equals a potential god. That's even, I would say, like, I think that's probably true, but it does require a little bit of theorizing, because the way Ronnie puts it, she says that, you know, she was once an Empyrean. Of the demigods, only she, Mikkel, and Melania could claim that title. And then she says she was chosen by the Two Fingers as a candidate to become a god, to become the next god. Which could be two separate things. It doesn't necessarily mean that her being an Empyrean is the same thing as her being a candidate. So it could be that maybe only Empyreans are potential candidates, but that you still have to be chosen as a candidate. I think it's just still not totally clear to me what an Empyrean means. However, in favor of it being like a candidate for godhood, the Japanese is it's something like Shinjin, I think, which is like literally like a god person. So if Mesmer is also the child of... Wait. If Mesmer is also a child of... I assume you mean Marika and Radigan. Why is he not Empyrean? Mesmer is a child of Mesmer. I mean, he may be an Empyrean. Also, it depends on whether you think that, like, that is something that they would necessarily say. Which, you know... I don't know. I don't know whether they would feel the need to express that or not. Yeah, so definite architectural similarities between the Eternal City and Bellerat / Enir Ilim. Certain things, the domed buildings, the and also the sort of rectangular buildings are similar to Bellerat. Some of the spires, they have that same kind of... there's not really a good example right here. And of course the bodies sort of forming everything. You can see a couple of them there. Was Marika actually an Empyrean, or does she not count since she used the gate to ascend instead of the Elden Ring? I'm not sure what that last part means. She is said... I think it's Malekith's Remembrance, which says... Malekith was a shadowbound beast given to his Empyrean. Marika's sole need of her shadow was as a vessel to lock away the Elden Ring. To lock away Destined Death. So that would mean that she was at least an Empyrean at some point. Whether that's something that could be Ow, I was trying to backstab you. Crown worn by swordstresses of the Eternal City. These women are the personal guards of the Night Maidens, and the silk hides their eyes. Long ago, the Nox invoked the ire of the Greater Will, and were banished deep underground. Now they live under a false night sky, in eternal anticipation of their liege, of the coming age of the stars, and their Lord of Night. I'm still not... I still don't have a solid view on whether I think the Greater Will was something that... whether it was actually an entity at some point, or whether it's something more abstract. Because you could see if the Greater Will was something more like the manifestation of the will of humanity or the will of the people, then it could be that, you know, them being banished deep underground is nothing more than just like they were ostracized from society and they had to flee underground or something like that. And I think I still subscribe to Cosmos's belief that the cities themselves were not literally cast underground, because you don't really see signs of... I suppose the thing is, you do see some signs of destruction, but not... you certainly not, like, meteoric impacts. They're not crumbling to the degree that, like, the ancient dynasty is crumbling apart. And you see the way that the buildings are built, you know, right up against the cliff walls, even from the ceiling of the cave. That would suggest that these cities were built down here rather than... But who knows? I mean, when it comes to magic, it's like, well, could they have been magically transported, yeah, I guess transported. There's another word I was thinking of. Maybe, but I think it, on face value, it looks like they were built down here. Could the cities have been built after they were attacked and sent underground? Yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking. Someone brought up the idea that maybe, I think it was in the Discord server, that maybe the storm is a way of sort of providing cloud cover from the sun, which is an interesting thought. I'm not really sure where to take that, but it's an intriguing thought. And then we have this maiden, and the symbol on the back of the chair looks very similar to some of the designs we see in Bellarat. Let's just look at some of these other things. Soaked in arcane dew, it gives off the faint glow of starlight. There's potentially a connection there. We get the dew gem item. Actually, did I pick any up? No. We get the Dew Gem item in the DLC, which is a similar kind of thing. It sups on night-tinged dew. Something like that. I wonder how important that is, because that relates to Sprite Medicine and the Rao civilization. The Silver Tear makes mockery of life, reborn again and again into imitation. Perhaps one day it will be reborn a lord. Looked at these before. Spirits of Great Shield soldiers who belonged to the Fallen Hawks, a band of soldiers that once explored the Eternal City. Stout defenders with a steady guard. Though their methods are somewhat crude, they work well as a squadron and will attract the attention of enemies or lob ghost flame from the rear guard. Yeah, there's still a question about what the deal with them is. Why did burning the bones of their fellows seal their fate as dwellers of the underground for all eternity? It would kind of draw a parallel to the Nox, as if the Nox, the Nox being banished underground. Maybe they did something else as well. Maybe it's turning on one's own people. I don't know how to put those together. Drained of color, that's still something I don't get. And these bell bearings, I feel like the spirit calculus is kind of a similar concept, because like the bell bearings are kind of weird. And you could obviously just dismiss them as like gameplay concession. This is a way to buy items, but I think if maybe the idea is that some kind of spiritual essence sort of congeals within the body, and that you can use this to manifest the memories of that person in a way. Something like that. Are you kidding me? In the false night sky, I don't know what the deal is with the false night sky. It seems to be related to the Graven Masses, because there's one in Raya Lucaria that's like sort of producing a similar false night sky. Something to do with the primeval current. Mask fashioned from the corpse of a formless silver tear, supported by its hardened shed husk. Greatly increases arcane to the detriment of physical attack power. To imitate the imitator is cunning play indeed. Okay. That doesn't really mean anything. Do the ancestor spirits grow into those arch trees when they die? Huh. My instinct is no, because the arch trees are... they're just sort of pillars, whereas the ancestor spirits are more about buds. So I would expect something that's continuously growing. Aren't the arch trees much earlier? In my head, the ancestral followers are later atavists. I don't know. There's something odd here because one thing I still don't quite understand is like the trees that are turning into stone in Farum Azula. That's the only other place where I can think of like petrified trees. I don't know if there's meant to be a connection there, or how loose that connection might be. Are these stone as well? These kind of look like they're stone. Let's look. Yeah, these look petrified as well. And I believe this is the same model for the golden illusory trees. Might be wrong about that. They're dead, that's striking. Dead and petrified. What happens if you hit it? That's a good point. Hard to say what's going on there, but I would say stone. I think the idea is that they're meant to be petrified. So that looks similar. Also, interesting that they should be something so focused around fire. So you have to light the fires in order to to access the ancestral spirit, to wake it up. And some of these... This is such a cool, weird design. But also these flying buttresses are very similar to the Shadow Keep. Oh, that was my frame rate suddenly dropping. Yeah, so what is it about lighting the fire? What are you burning here? This looks similar to... So she's holding up the ancestral infant's head. And what? Falling spirits? There's some green arched roof architecture in at least one catacomb that I can't place anywhere else. Interesting. I can't think of what you're referring to. Yeah, post it in the Discord. I'll check it out. I feel like maybe the Darklight Catacombs, there were some, like, buildings within the catacombs. But I'm not remembering too clearly. So, definitely a parallel with Eniar Ilim. Creepy faces. Gold? Is that supposed to be gold? Copper, maybe? It's odd. I was watching Matthew Matos's Dark Souls commentary before the stream. He made a good point that's very pertinent to ER lore too. Before interpreting the actual meaning behind any element found in the game, we should think about whether there's any intention behind said element. Well, I mean, I agree. The problem is it's kind of difficult to... It's kind of difficult to parse. Because you can... There's different degrees to that, to intentionality. Like, there may be some small design which didn't have much thought or intention behind it, but could be reflective of some general idea that was just sort of in the zeitgeist for the team. You know, Miyazaki, at least in how he describes his design process of directing Dark Souls, like he talks about how he basically started out with a bunch of different themes that he would just be telling all the designers about. So there could be something which is maybe on its own not that individually important, but could have been the result of just some general idea that was in the air. The example he used was the undead merchant petting something invisible, and pointed out that the devs might have just run out of time to model something visible. Yes. However, I do think, also, I wouldn't draw a one-to-one analogy between Elden Ring and previous Souls games, because my impression, at least, is that Elden Ring is much more complete and much more polished and refined than any of the preceding games. And I'm not saying that as a judgment about the story or the gameplay or anything, but just in the sense that I don't get as much of a rushed sense of development as I do with, Demon Souls leaving out an entire Archstone, which clearly they wanted at some point to build, and they built part of Dark Souls, things like Izalith and bits of the Duke's Archives, where clearly there were concessions made in later stages of development in order to make it sort of come together. I don't see as much of that in Elden Ring. I see some examples. I see, repetition of certain enemies and so on. But that's not necessarily the same thing, because you could also plan on, you could know 2 years out, like, we're only going to be able to build so many enemies and fine-tune them, so we're just going to leave some areas with repeated enemies. I don't see the same level of crunch time in development. Yeah, and the other thing is, I would be very wary of making the assumption that there's basically either you plan some story element out in advance, or you have or there's some logistical thing, and that those are incompatible. A lot of games, they develop the story after they've already built most of the game. It's not necessarily that, especially, obviously with this case we have George R. R. Martin's backstory, but there's lots of individual details where you can come up with a narrative context for it as a developer, even if the reason that it's there is something more practical and logistical. So even something like the invisible Yulia in Dark Souls 1, probably they just didn't model something, or they couldn't get it to work right, or whatever. That is a totally plausible scenario, but that also doesn't mean that Miyazaki or someone didn't come up with some lore reason there. It just may mean that it's not worth looking into too much, because if it was a really vital piece of lore, they probably would have provided something about it. These kind of look like chains to me. Maybe I'm just seeing things, but it kind of looks like a chain design. Chain links. I think Crunchy said this before. Mountaintops has reused enemies, but they still chose which enemies to reuse, so it's still meaningful. Yeah, like I don't think it's arbitrary, I guess is the point. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is an interesting design. I don't know. I guess these must be about fire giant size. Does that seem right? Maybe bigger? Well, that's a foot. It feels about fire giant sized. What Matthew had to say just struck a chord for me, since folks so often look at the most minute details in ER textures and such to try to support some lore theory or something. I mean, I think I just wouldn't be absolute on anything. We don't know exactly how much any individual artist working at FromSoft knows about the entire story. We don't know if they know if every single dev there knows the whole story, or if it's literally just Miyazaki. There's probably a couple other people, but whether they do or not, you could, like, Miyazaki could. He's talked about his design process, you know, how he communicates to artists and so on. And you know, he'll often give them very vague instructions, like, you know, this is design something that you would want to save your life in a dire situation. You know, these like very abstract, vague things. But that if that doesn't get the result that he wants, then he'll get more specific as to color and design and so on. So, yeah, does he? I can't imagine, with the amount of textures that exist in this game, that Miyazaki is looking at every single one and, you know, making sure they all match. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't fit, because you could have some general ideas that are then taken up by various artists and portrayed in different ways, and just following those general principles, general themes, you would get a lot of stuff which is compatible with the story and even fleshes out the story, and is still sort of meaningful in a way. It doesn't all have to come from the mind of Miyazaki for it to be sort of canonical. So I think, no, we haven't spoken to Ronnie yet, so I think at this point let's go and do something else so that we can follow through on that. I think let's go up maybe the right hand side of Liurnia. Or maybe we should look a little bit at the DLC. That might be more fun, honestly. Let's travel around the Shadowlands a bit. So... yeah, so when we look at some of these structures, this is a bit more rudimentary in design, it's less elaborate. But I think there are some parallels with the Noxian architecture. I'd have to, like, look at individual assets and compare them side by side to see. Shingled roofs. But even stuff like this looks fairly Noxian. Interesting, it's got the circle at the top, perhaps representative of the greater will, the lightless abyss. At first I felt defeated when I found a statue or carving ripped straight from real life or whatever, but even those probably have some intentionality, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I think you just have to imagine yourself, like, put yourself in the shoes of someone working on this game. You know, there's stuff that you want to really spend a lot of time and detail working on, and then there's other stuff which you want to get done more quickly. Probably a lot of random little wall textures that you're not going to see too closely unless you're zooming in with FreeCam are not something that you want to spend a lot of time and detail on, especially if it's not a particularly important thing. But you could still, like, if you had an idea in your head of what the meaning is of that location and what the sort of culture is and a general sense of the story and so on, even just, finding some free asset online to put there, could be, it would be informed by your understanding of what you're trying to achieve. So one thing which I feel like is meant to be a big sort of reveal in a way, I'm not really sure what the implication is here, is we have this caduceus pattern, right? And then in the DLC, we obviously get a lot more. It's all about spirals and all this stuff. But particularly we get the sort of limnescape pattern here. And we see it also in some of the architecture in Bellerot. And then we get the ghost flame spell, the spectral rings of light, where the rings are actually units from this limnescape pattern. As if to say the whole idea of rings, like the Elden Rings, the great runes, that this is derived from this limnescape pattern. That it comes from the caduceus. I'm not really sure where, what that's supposed to mean exactly, but I feel like that's really important. And there's a connection between Ghost Flame. I mean, I've already pointed out the connection between, like, the Bald Monk statue and the Death Rites, and so this connection between Death Rites and the Golden Order, but then also, if that spectral rings thing is meant to show a connection between the whole idea of, like, golden rings versus spectral rings, that this is derived from the same kind of principles. And you have, like, ghost flame spells, they require intelligence and faith, just like the Golden Order incantations. There's something there that it feels like it's trying to communicate something, and I don't quite get what it's trying to communicate. But it doesn't feel arbitrary. It feels like there's something. It's supposed to be saying, like, hey, this is a reveal. I think this is the spirit that Ratatosker mentioned as we were talking on the podcast. I know all your resentment lingers yet. The raw stuff from which I shall surely forge a curse upon the dastard Mesmer's head, upon Marika's children each and all. kind of odd that you would hang horn scent. And the whole idea is like they're being burnt, right? Kind of an odd choice. Very warped and twisted trees. Very similar to the shadow tree. It's got no notion of order. Sort of not really a tree, it's like a bundle of roots. Very crucibly. I mean, when I saw the picture initially, my impression was this supports my idea of like that we're sort of upside down because these look like roots coming out, like out of the bottom of the earth, kind of. And I still think visually that is kind of what it's meant to look like, but I'm not really sure what that's supposed to mean. Is that similar to the Belfry's designs? I need to get closer for it to be in higher resolution. Maybe we'll make our way over towards Castle Ensis. Kill this guy, so we get some. Ow. 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 Hey. Freaking dogs, man. Jesus Christ. Freaking dogs. Our dog's like the worst enemy to fight every single game. Another thing that's interesting is the connection between the Hornsent spiral and the bud. In the Church of the Bud, they have a bud at the top, the spiral pillars, and Melania's Scarlet Bloom opens in a spiral. Yeah. And this, the Swamp of Aeonia as well, like the Heart of Aeonia, kind of suggests some kind of crucible-y kind of thing. Silver horn tender. Old currency used by Hornsent, made by coating spiral horns with silver. These trinkets were once symbolic of society's upper echelons. Not saying that the Hornsent are connected with a scarlet rot, but there's similar spirit of transformation or something. Well, I think, like, the Church of the Bud, from what I remember, looks like a Hornsent building built atop an earlier Rao ruin. And rot, I think, must have existed during Rao time. So with Ramina, it's not so much that she created the rot itself, she just created the scarlet rot. Like it has something to do with things being burnt. It creates this kind of perverted form of whatever the outer god is, whatever the kami is. Because you get the same thing with the formless mother. It's like they see a twisted deity in the shadow of their ancestor. So they're already performing this kind of divine ritual, worshipping their ancestor. But then, by being burnt, it becomes something twisted. It's a cozy little cave. Hey, that's a pretty good painting, man. Fibonacci sequence? Yeah. I mean, that's something I brought up a long time ago, just in reference to the base game map, which I guess I won't be able to show you fully, but like, you do get a kind of 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, so, not perfect, but you do get that kind of, that proportion, that spiral proportion in the overall world map. Oh yeah, interesting that they blow that fire on you. Let's take a look at them. So golden hair, that's interesting. Assuming that is hair. Like, what? They've just got like a sack on their head? Oh, there's their face. Okay. But they're veiled. Damn, that's a cool weapon. I wish I could get this. Come on, Miyazaki. What are you doing? I want this weird amber dagger. It looks so cool. They've got a bell. That's interesting. Potentially a bell to, what, alert people that they're coming? Or as a way of summoning spirits? And then we've got the arc. Burning. Candle tree. What does all the gold mean? I don't really get it. I mean, I'm assuming it's all the sap of the shadow tree. What does that mean? I don't know. But I'm assuming that's where they got it. So not to like assume their gender or anything, but the fact that they're wearing dresses, are they all women? I think one description calls them hags, straight up. I don't remember that. I wonder if there is... See, one of the things I was wondering if... Oh, isn't Jory male? That's a good point. I think he is. I think that says it, although I'm not sure. And I believe it's actually Yori, based on the Japanese. One thing I was wondering is if the whole sort of shaman jar process is something that basically happens to everyone, or just like a lot of people in Hornset society. Like maybe the Inquisitors, maybe the high sort of priests of Hornset society are actually saints. They are made, they're cleansed or whatever by this process of melding them with shamans. Maybe they're originally sinful people. Just think they're wearing robes? Yeah, it's possible. Possible. The Inquisitor hags wield barbed candlesticks? Interesting. I'll have to look up some... Yori isn't gendered? Interesting. I mean, I don't really know what that would mean if they were anyway, so... But that's just kind of curious. Maybe that would relate to Empyrean status, since all the Empyreans that we know of seem to be female, except for Mikola. There's a cliff edge there. That worried me for a moment. Isn't there another one? Oh, there you are. Wow, you're kind of dumb. How'd you lose sight of me? I remember there's a description that says the barbs in Midra have something of the Golden Order in them. And it looks a lot like the way the Elden Ring is in Marika's body. Yeah, it's the skill for... it's the skill for the Great Sword of Damnation that says there is something of the Golden Order in the sight of those upon the crux. which is a provocative description. So there we can see a bit of, let's just zoom in. So there's the Church of the Bud. And see, this looks like the kind of architecture that we see in the Scorched Ruins. It's the same sort of stuff. So I believe this is a Hornsent structure built upon something older. It's not part of the Rao ruins. Some of the Golden Order incantations seem to be based on Hornsent death sorceries. What are you thinking of specifically? Ow. Surprising amount of that loaded from here. I mean, basically, if there's an angle, it's still an LOD model. It's not like the full rendered model. So, but because you can potentially see a bit of it, then they're very good about making sure that you can see things from far away. I've never noticed any I've never noticed anything to pop in. Maybe a level of detail to pop in, but never like an object to pop in. There are bud sculptures around the ceiling tree, so I wonder if that wasn't originally the bud at some point. Yeah, the ceiling tree is odd. It's very odd. Because it clearly is like a miniature version of the shadow tree itself. Which I'm not sure what that indicates. Also, this tree has... Well, it almost looks like the Rada fruit kind of... let's see, is there some Rada fruit around here? Comparison. There we go. I guess that's a bit different. But I guess maybe just the general, like, I don't know, whatever this type of sort of wheat-looking flower is. It's interesting that this one is sort of blooming. Still dead or dying. But it's got leaves. I'm thinking of how the golden arc spells are sorceries wielded as incantations, and something mentions ancient death magic used by the Inquisitors. Yeah, it calls them hexes, which is interesting because a long time back in my Crucible video I pointed out this stuff about hexes, which connects Ghost Flame sorceries, the Gelmir sorceries, the Serpent Lava stuff, and Red Glintstone, the blood of sacrifices, and so on. So the fact that we now have the Inquisitor stuff is referred to as hexes, is also interesting. But I'm not sure what... I mean, I can see vaguely a connection there, but I'm not sure what, like, is there a specific spell... Is there a specific incantation that you're looking at, like a connection between the Inquisitors and the Golden Order? Because as far as I can think of, like, the Golden Order stuff, you've got, you know, Litany of Proper Death, you've got the like, Order, Sacred Blade, or whatever that's called, and then you've got the Ring stuff, and then you've got Law of Regression and Causality, Immutable Shield. I don't see a close one-to-one with any of the Inquisitors moves, unless I'm forgetting something.
In battle, you can be...
Right, I already talked to these.
As long as you...
So, let's... We'll come back and do some other stuff later, but for now, let's ride on to get a look at Castle Ensis. Got Mesmer's sigil there. We'll get a clearer view of that somewhere else, I think. That's neat, the way the light hits that. Still kind of low detail. Yeah, so this looks very Noxian. This looks very similar to the structures that we were just looking at. Cross strings, whatever they're called, could be related to the disc incantations in the same way Glintstone Arc and Shard Spiral are relate to the Golden Arc and Spiral. Yeah. Yeah. In the preview images for the new art book, we can see that the braid on Mesmer's sigil is actually a band around the eye which seals the Abyssal Serpent. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get the art book. I haven't seen any of those. Well, I've seen a couple images, but nothing in detail yet. So... here we have Mesmer's sigil. There's the braided ring. And to me, this... I'm probably just, you know, schizo-theorizing here, but this kind of looks like a dragon. The fire itself. I don't know. Oh, what? I didn't mean to do that. So a bunch of people impaled. Oddly not horned. Hmm. Yeah, let's take a look at this statue. Maybe let's switch to a better time of day to check this out. Do like these skyboxes, but it's a little bit dark. Yeah, they don't appear to have horns. That's odd. So here we have America. Does she always have like this ascot? Never noticed that. But here she does not have any armbands. Hmm. We've got an arc here. Carrying handles? Oh, that's interesting, yeah. I did not even notice that. Something they place down. Hmm. Let's take a look at some of these guys here. Maybe not that guy, he's glitching out. We've got some perfumers. Let's get a little bit closer. So there's a visual similarity with the Nox, I would say. The white headdress. Their eyes are not covered. They do not have gold eyes, though. Hmm. Oh, maybe they do have gold eyes. Bewitched by the fire. Does this one not have those eyes? Can't really tell. Oh, let me... That would help. Oh no, it's still there. But you just... It's very faint. Very faint. Perfuming upskirt. Hmm. This is an interesting little symbol. What's going on there? Looks like a pair of boots with I don't even know what that is. Amogus, yeah. Yeah, interesting. You do see it's the same sort of like wheat type of leaves in the designs here. It's a bird in Celtic design. The curly part is the head. Oh, I can kind of see that. Yeah. Yeah. Like almost like a swan or something. Are these non-crazed perfumers? I think they're just your regular perfumers. I don't think there's anything unusual about them. What's this one doing? Just like sniffing their own perfumes. Chain. Let's take a look at some Mesmer soldiers. Got a big horn to alert people. No real interesting designs there. We've got a depiction of the shadow tree. Ew, I don't like his mouth. Let's just pause you for a moment. So we've got a double-bladed axe. Oh, I might. That's a perfectly acceptable British mouth, isn't it? That's pretty disgusting. Can we see their eyes? Doesn't seem like it. Don't really have eyes to speak of. Okay, where's a... There's got to be a Black Knight around here. I want to also take a look at one of them. I suppose I should really go down to that other church. Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. I'm gonna go do that. So we've got that. That's fine. We'll go down to the church. We'll fight that random beast man. I wonder if that's the Erd Tree or Shadow Tree on their helms. I believe it says explicitly it's the Shadow Tree, but I will hopefully get some of their armor and see. second. Okay. What's going on here? There's a little encampment. Oh. Jesus. Lump of flesh. So this is similar to... Oh, interesting. This one doesn't have the hole on it. So there's a few different versions, I guess. Why would you sort of bury someone in this manner? What is the point of this? It looks similar to the depiction on... I don't think I have it, but on the thing Fia gives you, the Baldachin's Blessing. I'll have to check that. I think it's got like doors on it though, so maybe it's different. No hole, yes, stick and circle. Stick and circle. I'm not sure what that means. I gotta fight that Moonlight jail knight at some point, so I'll check all of those different ones there. Oh, I see. You mean on the top. Yeah, interesting. Are they mutually exclusive? Well, maybe we can check. That is a different thing. Does seem like they're mutually exclusive. Yeah, that's interesting. Hole. Stick and circle. But they both versions seem to have some kind of body buried. Right? They both have this corpse. Curious. More weight. A lot of burial practices are superstitious, a fear of the dead rising up again. Why else lay heavy stone in a place of rest? Well, you lay a heavy stone in a place of rest because that's something that is not likely to be disturbed, so it's more permanent. You don't... I mean, from a practical perspective, you don't want to start digging up old graves. And also from a superstitious perspective. So you want to mark them clearly, and that means putting a heavy stone down so that it's obvious where the grave is. I was quoting the guy from the Crucible that they kill by piling stones on his chest. The Crucible, like Arthur Miller, The Crucible? I don't know what you're referencing. Firefly, glass shard. Why are these guys just chilling here? Their shield is 8 shards around a circle. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I feel kind of bad about killing these guys. They're just taking a nap here. But also I kind of want, like, their weapons, so... So this also seems like... horn scent structure? You've got that sort of magenta shingle. I don't see any of the little figures that you saw in the other structures, but similar kind of thing. Similar kind of architecture. What is that? It's like a lion with a dude hanging upside down? What is that design? That's really weird. A lion? Or is that a bull? No, it's got like a long tail. It's really weird looking. So America, again, she does not have... So this is the same statue as before. She does not have either wristband. And... don't we see this in the Ancient Dynasty? Am I crazy? Is this not, is this not in the Ancient Dynasty? Colosseums and Precipice of Anticipation? You need to take more screenshots? It's probably a good idea. Well, I'll take one of this. Let's sneak up a little bit. Maybe kill some guys first. It's in the America statues in the base game as well. Okay, I didn't remember that. This is based on a real relief sculpture. Haha, I can still play this like Dark Souls. Oops. Hey. Hey, come on. There we go. Black Steel Great Hammer. Weapon of the Black Knights, servants of Mesmer the Impaler, great hammer of black steel with decorative embellishments in gold, blessed with an Erdtree incantation. Further holy imbuement will amplify the effect and greatly increase the armament's power. Okay. Guard counters cause a burst of power. Oh, it's only 25 strength. That's not bad at all. I might switch to that. Please drop me something good. No, just a smithing stone. Bam. So let's just drop a little, let's drop a little glowstone here. And I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Okay, that's good. I will have to check that against some other things. So wait, my strength right now is 16, which means 24, and it was 25, is that right? Yeah, so not quite there. Hey, come back here. Ooh, gauntlets, nice. Blessing of America. Ah, and here is the dew gem. Succulent plant that is supped on night-tinged dew. Glows at night and blossoms mainly at the waterside, said to have been used in the practice of sprite medicine long ago. So, sprite medicine. It's interesting that I don't quite understand. It says it's supped on night-tinged dew, but then like it always grows around like waterfalls and stuff. So like, is that dew is just what collects? So is that meant to be implying something about the nature of this water? Or is that just something separate? Like, they grow around water, but just separately, they also happen to sup on night-tinged dew. It's sort of odd. It's the night tinged part they're highlighting, I think. But what I mean is the fact that they grow around like flowing rivers and waterfalls and stuff. Is it meant to be implying that like this water has something to do with the night, or is it just the dew? Like they happen to grow around water, but also, you know, when it becomes nighttime, dew collects on the surface, and that is night tinged, and that's just something separate to the fact that they happen to grow around water. Are they used to craft anything interesting? Yes. What do they craft? I believe the fingerprint nostrum. A little bit. Gotta wake up everyone. Black firefly. Okay, nothing too interesting here. Fire coil, let's read that. I think that's everything in this section. Oh, I didn't fight that guy. I'll just mark him on the map. There's a guy there. But that's fine, I don't need to do him now. Fire coil. A device of fire used by Mesmer's soldiers. Lingering embers bundled into a coil. Uses FB to conjure tiny fire snakes from the spot that it is thrown. The writhing snakes pursue foes. And this looks very much like what we see behind Mesmer's false eye. You can even see kind of those multiple eyes on the snakes, in the manner that you do see on the abyssal serpent. I still don't know what to make of that. A special physic blessed by Marika, the queen of the Erd Tree. Marika once created several of these physics for Mesmer's sake, but never again. Never again. What if it was supposed to say snake? You mean as in singular in this description? I mean, it looks like it's multiple little things in there. I don't know what it means. I don't know if that would mean anything meaningful. Oh, Marika's blessing? Wait. Marika's blessing. Oh, America once created several of these physics for Mesmer's snake. Yeah, that would be funny if that was a typo. Last protagonist says, I don't know if YouTube is going to delete this, and then I don't see anything after that, so I'm going to assume that YouTube did delete it. I don't know if you're still there. Just DM the link. Okay. Oh, maybe about the reliefs. Never again, 'cause America can't or won't. Yeah, that's arguable. I mean, the fact that she's imprisoned in the Erd Tree now would kind of suggest, like, she can't do much of anything. But that could have been even earlier before then, that she just kind of abandoned Mesmer here. Oh, that's right. We even went into Bellerot a bit. Oh, and then there's those Horn guys that I didn't really want to fight. That's right. Let's go to let's see. We can make our way up to the first bit of Castellensis. And we can also level up. Should be nice. Let's get another couple levels in strength, and then I can use that epic weapon. This is 406. If I dual wield it, what does this come out to? It's 278. It's not great, but might still be fun. Let's what time is it now? So this is nighttime. It's so odd. One of the things is, like, we have a sun and we have a moon, but then with the Shadow Tree in particular, it's like, see, this seems like there's moonlight coming from behind the tree, and during the day it seems like there's sunlight coming from behind the tree. I'm not really sure what that means. Anyway, I wanted to just look at this hammer a little bit. So that is... This is the version of the ring that we have now. So I wonder what that indicates. It's not the version that we see in the High Road, and it's not the version that we see in Fair Missoula. Blessed with an Erd Tree incantation. Oh, I'm heavy rolling, that's no good. Well, I'm barely doing any damage. Just leave this guy alone. That is pretty safe. I didn't really use this. But damn, that is a lot of fun. I should upgrade this. Hey. I don't get hyper with that? Hey. Don't you dare. Hey, what? How come they didn't stagger him? Excuse me. I think for now I'll go back to this because I just need to do more damage. Oops. Oh, need a better healing spell. There's like a dog right here, isn't there? Oh yeah. Hey, the axe, nice. So... Hey, what the heck? Oh, it's my favorite weapon is right here. Oh, forget all the other weapons. It's all about Milady. That's what we're getting. We're getting Milady. Milady. This is just like the most beautiful animation set they've ever made for a weapon. Oh, it's so good. Like this with the little swivel right there as it comes around. That's so smooth. Oh, it looks so good. That looks so good. These are just great animations. And I also like that like everything ends in a guard position. I guess holding it behind your back is probably not great. It's not that smart, but it's stylish, which is important as well. It's just like the best animation set. Also, just like a great principle of animation is it's all about poses rather than movement per se. Like that's why you focus on like keyframes when you're doing like drawn animation. So like you look at this and every move ends in a different pose. So you get like the, turning, that twisted pose, and then this one. That second pose is not as great. It looks a little bit crass, but that one and that one, that's the wing stance. Every move ends in this like different pose. It just looks so good. Also, it's one of the things which I feel is a straight downgrade from Demon Souls, in which they only ever repeated in Dark Souls 2. It's one of the few things that I really like about Dark Souls 2 is holding the weapon to your side rather than in front of you. To me, this always looks so weird. That like you're walking around just holding this thing in front of your torso like that. Especially if it's like a heavy, like, a heavy weapon. It just looks so awkward. God, it just looks so good. Yeah, I'm gonna just not use any other weapon. This is gonna be the greatest weapon. DS2, yeah, I said DS2. That's the only thing that I really, really do like about DS2 is the fact that they had that. I don't know why. I could see maybe there being some kind of problem with like clipping, or it's like cleaner to put it in front of you. I don't know. I think it just looks worse. This probably isn't doing that much damage for now. I need to go upgrade it. So once I do that, their next game should be made around weapons with this kind of fluid moveset. DS2 had it, so no other game is allowed to do it anymore. Yeah, right. Loyal Knights Cookbook. The Royal Carrion Knights. Nothing too interesting here. Ooh, Black Knight Helm, nice. What? Okay, we'll look at all these things. I abandon here the flesh of my body. Effect. If this is his flesh, what's in the Mogwin cocoon? That is an excellent question. That is an excellent question. So let's read some of this stuff. Okay, Castle Cross message. Message by Leda. That's interesting. Is that like a signature at the bottom? That's kind of cool. Addressed to kindred spirits who also pursue Miquella's trail. Kind Miquella seeks the tower sealed by shadow, and the gate of divinity found there. If we are to reach him, we must burn the tree that seals the path, and for that we require a flame. Black iron ornamented with gold. A rotten odor stubbornly clings to it. Perhaps it arises from the tainted nature of the blood that splattered upon it. Or perhaps it is the wearer's own blackened soul, festering after endless slaughter. You know, it's kind of interesting because this black and gold, especially with that gray plume, is very, very reminiscent of Malekith's armor. I wonder if that's meant to imply anything. Let's do a quick trip to Round Table. See if there's any new dialogue there. Oh, look who it is. It's Ensha. You know what? Let's just pause the game here for a second and take a look around. Like, why does this round table exist? So he's got a meteorite staff. That's interesting. He performs gravity magic. Oops. Wait. Are these candles here in the real round table? Did I just forget about that? There's no fireplace. And the candles are... Let's just play for a second. No, the candles are moving. No two fingers. This is such an odd... Dark round table. Very odd. And now we're here. I guess those candles are there, I just never noticed them. Very strange, very strange.
Well, where have you been hiding? I took you for dead.
I still don't quite understand all the like the 3 different firelink shrines in Dark Souls 3. That definitely had something to do with like weird time shenanigans that I don't fully get. So yeah. The stats again. High faith. Not that much different, to be honest. Let's try Gravitas for now. And if we're using Milady, we're gonna want to get some better drip, to be honest. Because this isn't gonna be doing it. Okay. Any new dialogue here? No. Anything from Rodrika?
Greetings. Are you here for spirit tuning? I
Uh,
can hear it from across the wall.
yeah, we already talked to her about that. Okay. Fia.
I am pleased to see you again. Would you like me to hold you?
No, let's not deal with that right now.
Ah, hello. You've been busy weeding Deathroot, I take it. I thank you, as your brother in arms. So what can I do for you?
Okay, nothing too interesting there.
Always good to see you safe. So, what do you need?
We don't have any new... Oh, I suppose I could get some some of this stuff. Let's see what we got here.
Only once
Oh,
before
here we go, we got
have
one.
I seen two great runes together. Look there. The fingers shudder with exuberance. Fine work, brave Tarnished. The greater will is pleased.
They're definitely lying.
You have earned the right to become Elden Lord. Now, seek the Erd Tree and an audience with Queen Marika to become Elden Lord and restore the Golden Order. The fingers expect as much from you as they do young Gideon. Take this, a token of farewell.
Thank you.
Now, go forth, become Elden Lord. Queen Marika is the vessel of the Elden Ring, carrier of its vision, a god in truth. But after the Elden Ring's shattering, she was imprisoned in the Erd Tree, a grim punishment for shattering the Order, despite her godhood. The fingers speak. Marika's trespass demanded a heavy sentence. But even in shackles, she remains a god and the vision's vessel. Confer great runes to become Elden Lord and join Queen Marika as her consort. The fingers have willed it so. Now you may go.
Patriarch of the Golden Lineage. The Mother of Truth desires a wound. The Mother of Truth craves wounds. Yeah. I think she is actually interpreting the fingers. Yeah, I think the fingers, if she's correctly interpreting them, then the fingers must be lying, because I don't think there's any possibility they are actually communicating with the greater will. Which, I mean, actually, even apart from all the stuff that we now know with Meteor and so on, even in the base game, it seems like that's must be a lie, because then once we, tell about our plan to unleash the Rune of Death, they're like, oh, we gotta commune with the greater will, because this is legit now. Like, hold on one second. So at this point, like, them saying like, oh, the greater will is pleased or anything like that, that's just, they're just assuming that, or they're delusional.
Now,
We gotta get some good drip here. Let's see, medium load. let's I kind of want to see my dude's face, though. Oh, I like that. That's good. That's good. Okay. That's better. That's more like it. Okay, so now let's check on this Ensha situation. Royal remains Greaves. Greaves graced with gold human bones. Gold human bones. It is said that the bones belong to an ancient lord, the Soulless King, the lord of the lost and desperate, who is known as Ensha. It's almost as if, like, Godwin is taking the mantle of Ensha or something in a similar way to, like, Melania and Ramina, something like that. That there's this, like, passing down of, I don't know, someone needs to occupy that niche. Like, there's a certain role for people to play in every age. I don't know. Clinging bone. Horrific weapon made of a hardened skeletal arm, wielded by Ensha of the royal remains. Fitted by placing one's hands into the fist's grips until they dig in. O clinging creature, a king relinquishes not the hand. O clinging creature, a king relinquishes not the hand. What? O clinging creature. The clinging creature is the arm? The king relinquishes not the hand. That's such a weird description. Such a strange description. Actually, you know what? Since we are Sherlock Bones, so we gotta wear some bones. Alright, Gideon, what's up with this?
Journey to the capital, laying down the two fingers. You may be our best.
Yeah. Ensha, what's the deal?
My apologies for that nasty business. Ensha got rather ahead of himself, it seems. As his master, I'd like to express my regret. But now, Ensha is slain and gone. Finished. Forevermore. Ah, yes. Allow me to tender some advice in regard to the half of the secret medallion you possess. Find the Albinoric woman. She hides in a cave to the west of the Laskia ruins, which jut from the mist-shrouded lake of Liurnia. She knows the location of the medallion's counterpart, I'm sure. Find the Albinoric woman.
Find the
She hides in
Albinoric
a
woman.
cave to the west of the Laskia ruins, which jut from the mist-shrouded lake of Liurnia. She knows...
There's not a ton of mention of kings in general. Well, in Japanese, like, king and lord, these are basically the same words. So, for example, when you look at, like, the Storm King or the Storm Lord, these are the same terms throughout the series, kings and lords, throughout Dark Souls. They've been inconsistent in the past in how they've translated them, but it's just the same words. Is that an admission he was eventually going to sick him on you anyway? Yeah, I always wondered that. He got ahead of himself. That doesn't necessarily mean, like... It could just mean, like, he was... What, he was so interested in... He was so interested in what? In, getting the medallions? Yeah, acted on his own volition. It may not mean that, like, Gideon was going to send him after you. You know, actually, I feel like I look too edgelordy now. I need to soften this look. Yeah, I'm not sure about this anymore. This is not the kind of drip that I want. That's definitely too edgelordy. Dang, I need something with a good cape. Where do I find some good drip in this game? Where's something with a good cape? How do I get a good cape? The Oathseeker set in the DLC. Does it have a cape, though? I thought it's only Letta's version that has a cape. Maybe I'm wrong. Ronin set has a nice cape. However, I'm not going to be able to get that until defeating Morgott, getting to the mountaintops. There's the Carrion Knight set. I could get that. What else is there around here? Liurnia. Astrologer set. Which one is that? Is that scale armor? Oh. Oh no, I'd have to go and do the Volcano Manor quests. Well, I suppose I could do that actually. Let's see if Raya is going to take me to Volcano Manor. Mausoleum Knight. Mausoleum Knight is some good drip, that's true, but then I'd have to go farm for that, which I don't want to do on stream. I don't know if I ever looked at this properly, actually. So, Grand Lift of Dectus. Hey, wow, look at that. You can see the whole way. Damn, that's cool. Wow, Altus looks a little barren. So, we've got sort of tree sentinel looking guy. Bunch of tree sentinels. Depiction of the Erd tree. And what? America? Or just some... She's got very, like, 80s hairstyle. Spear covered in vines. Oops. I always sort of assumed it was America, but I guess I don't really know whether that would make sense. The fact that she has a spear that would kind of what, she's leading the tree sentinels. Mesmer also wielded a spear. That would kind of make sense. America the Impaler. It's always fair to assume everyone is America. Yeah, that's true. Here they have halberds. More clearly, tree sentinels. Slightly different than the version that we see in the game. These aren't the golden halberd, and the shield is different. It is circular, but the shield that we get in the game has a depiction of like a sort of kingly knight character receiving some blessing from a woman, probably Marika. Those vines on the statues look similar to the winged serpents wrapped around Mesmer. Oh yeah. Are those people slash bodies on the rim of the shield? Yeah, kind of does look like that. Yeah. That's interesting. Kind of interesting because the lift of Dectus... What's that? Oh, random bit of sunlight. This must have been built later on? See, it still has this kind of like Roman Greek kind of coded architecture, which makes me think it's quite old. But you have the ruin-strewn precipice, which is definitely like Rao ruins. Okay, let's go up. Pause and look around here. What's this? Oh, interesting. What are those guys? My impression is that anything that has a depiction of the Erd tree where the root system is as prominent as the branches is quite early in the history of the Golden Order. Yeah, I think that's... Well, see, I'm a little bit hesitant to read too much into, like, subtle differences between the depictions of the same basic idea. That just gets to a level of, like... I don't know how much I'm willing to draw any conclusions from that. So, I didn't even notice these guys. This is very interesting. So they've almost got... What are these? Scepters with a kind of... It's almost like the astrolabes. That kind of half cup. So are these like Carians? Raya Lucarians? That's sort of the impression I get. You know, this sort of tabard thing that looks like the Raya Lucarian robes. Which would make sense in a way because this is like the Bellum Highway, right? So it's what connects Lendel with Raya Lucaria ultimately. So you have on one side the tree sentinels, and the other side astrologers. Interesting. Raya is not here. Why are you not here, Raya? She must be down at the ruins. Entering from this side, you are approaching Liurnia. Entering from the other side, you are approaching Altus. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's just kind of a signifier of what you're about to run into. You will literally run into some tree sentinels if you continue up that path. I'm assuming I already got all of this, but... Okay, so that's fine. But then let's see if Raya is here. Oh, hello, Raya.
I've been waiting for you. I knew you had the stuff of champions. I hereby invite you to the Volcano Manor. Take my hand and have audience with my mistress.
That looks a little bit like a Nox design. We need to do another little screenshot here. This looks similar to something.
Give me your hand. I will pray that you follow the same path as Lady Tanith.
Okay, so let's take a look at some of this stuff. Can't even tell what I'm looking at there. What is that? There's so much specular. Need more light, correct. I don't know if that actually helps. That kind of makes it even more confusing. Why is the shading so weird? Probably use rainbow arrows. Yeah, I was looking to see if I had those, but I don't. Okay, might check that out later. Oh, wait, is it just this? That's the same one, isn't it? Hold on. Boom. Yeah, it's this. I think this is the same design. So nothing too... Just looks more decorative than anything else. The Greater Will. The Moon. The ceilings. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Giga Slayer. Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, all of that. Hey, that's cheating. That's not actually the sun. You know, it's so low quality, but that mark doesn't look dissimilar to the mark on the foreheads of the jar shamans. Curious. I never noticed those little creepy hands at the bottom. Oh, I also didn't notice that's a snake around his arm, isn't it? Am I crazy? That is a snake there, isn't it? Interesting.
Brave Tarnished. Welcome to the Volcano Manor. I am Tanith, the proprietress of this house. Raya spoke well of you, a warrior of promise, I believe she said. Perhaps you are prepared to make a commitment. Will you join us here at the Volcano Manor and resist the tide? Why accept the burden of their grace, or be fooled by the dogmatic ramblings of the Fingers? Rise with us against the Erd Tree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you belong to the Volcano Manor family. The drawing room lies down the hall.
Rykard trying to
Make
emulate
yourself
Mesmer?
comfortable, but be sure to earn your keep.
Yeah. That would follow. I mean, you definitely have, like, okay, Mesmer is like an elder brother to Radahn, which means that... I mean, I always get the sense that Radahn is younger than Rykard. But either way, I think it does imply... It implies some relationship between Mesmer and Rykard, whether personal or just, you know, through Radahn, through some legacy of Mesmer's memory, even if it was after he had left, after he was separated. Okay, Old Knight Istvan. This furled finger is covered in snake scales. An heirloom of the Lord of the Volcano Manor, bequeathed to Tarnished who have become family.
Hello again, brave Tarnished. As a scout, I am pleased to see you again here at the Volcano Manor under Lady Tanith's guidance. May you tread the path of valor. Brave Tarnished, under Lady...
You. What in heaven's name are you doing here? The Volcano Manor is a pit of recusants who spit at grace and hunt our own kind. I hope you understand the weight of my words.
That looks like the Cinque Dea, kind of. You know, I sort of assumed these were lions, but they could be something more like Sarash. Or not Sarash, Malekith is what I was thinking. Interesting.
Well, as long as you understand what you're saying.
I understand.
You have harbored doubts from the very beginning.
Yeah, I doubt
Perhaps
everything.
this day was always lurking on the horizon. But know that the path you walk is blasphemy and leads only to a miserable death. Before you consider hunting any of your own kind, think on that. This blasphemous... Before you...
Yeah, the Abyssal Serpent and the God-Devouring Serpent... At least they look different, like comparing the two boss fights, but the snakeskin in Bonnie Village is the same as the snakeskin in the Temple of Iglay. It's just, I think it's slightly smaller, but otherwise it's like basically the same model. So there's some connection there. They're not just like two unrelated serpents. There's some through line there. So I wonder why Istvan? Why would they be against Istvan? Just what, one random tarnished that why not go kill him? Seems kind of arbitrary. Wolves coming out of the storm. So weird. It's just an acre of you fellas. Oops. We're definitely meant to connect them, considering how close the snakeskin is found to the "Oh Mother" gesture. Yeah. Oh. Oops. Okay. Bro, I'm pressing dodge. Can I not dodge after that attack? Hey. If America is Radigan, can Mesmer be Rykard and Melina be Ronnie? Okay, this might be slightly better drip. I like this scaled armor. It's got like dragon wing dragon wing cape. Oh, I'm overloaded now. Heavy load for a bit. That's pretty good. One tree has a parasite wrapped around it, but both serpents are mixed together with a person. Maybe both trees have a parasite then. Radigan / America inside, like Rykard inside the serpent. I'm not totally sure what that means. Where have I seen this design before? That looks familiar. Where have I seen that? There's definitely something that has that loop design. Where have I seen that? Where have I seen that? Let's see. Is it... Confessor set? Where's the freaking Confessor set? I must have scrolled past it. There we go. No, that's different. Raging Wolf set? There's something on the cape, but that's not it either, I don't think. Damn, this is such a cool armor set. I definitely gotta get this. Where have I seen that? I know I've seen that somewhere. I know I've seen this. This loop. Oh! Wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. Oh, there's the picture of the Raging Wolf set, at least. That is a really weird design as well. It's like rings and maybe dragons. I'm not sure what's going on there. I need someone to rip that texture so I can see it properly. But what I was going to look at is... Boom. So do I have a better picture of that? Probably do somewhere, but... It's not exact, but it's pretty damn close. Let's travel to one of those. Ba, 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 ba. I think this would be the last thing that I do on stream. Let's just kill all the guys here. Nice. Okay. Let's take a look at this thing. So Number 1. There. Number 2. This. It's definitely not the same, but it's kind of similar. So odd, threaded design. Oh damn, Milady is so pretty. Never noticed all this little detail. Yeah, I mean, these I just don't... These are just such strange objects, I still don't get them. I still don't get them. What is going on here? Like... Because these almost seem like horns. Like, what even is this? I get... Okay. Twisty, crucible-y roots, thorny roots, and it splits out into little branches at the top. But, like, what is this? What is this thing? What is this hilt? Are these the result of thorn sorcery or what? I thought the thorn sorcerers helped kill the giants, but I could be misremembering. I don't think there's anything that says that. I mean, once the fire giants were defeated, guardians were appointed to watch over the flame. Now what you get is you find people called flame guardians in the guardians garrison, and they look similar to the Erdtree guardians. They have the same masks. And then you have the fire prelates and the fire monks, and they're sort of allied, or they're using the guilty sorcerers. This is just such an odd, like, I don't know what to make of any of this. There's this sigil. There's this sigil. There's like this design, and then these weird little horn things on the side. I don't know what to make of any of that. Okay, totally wacky idea here for a second. Totally wacky idea. Okay, can I bring my mouse in to... Oh no, it's gonna... Ah, see, it controls the freaking thing. Okay, but let me just point out like this. What if this round thing is a head, and these little side thingies are arms? And I don't know. I don't know what that would mean. Like, people sacrificed to become weapons, to become guardian spirits. I don't know, man. A thorny totem, which signifies guilt. It just erected itself. That's possible. It's possible. I mean, they are impaling the giant, so it feels like this is something that is a tool. It's used as a weapon. Yeah, it's just the mix of natural and artificial. If it was all made of thorns, I would understand it. Like, oh, this is a manifestation of some thorn magic. The fact that it's got this weird, like, hilt with a sigil on it. It's like, how did this thing come to be? At least I got some good drip. I think this will be a good place to start from next time. God, that's so gorgeous. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there. And, the adventures of Sherlock Bones will continue in the new year. I've been thinking about making a video, but I'm not really sure what... I've got a whole bunch of random little ideas that don't really connect that much. So I might just do a really weird mishmash video of like, here's like 15 different crazy theories. Because I don't really want to do a different one for each, a different video for each one. Or if I can figure out some way to tie some of them together, but I'll see if I can write something up over the break and then hopefully make something in January. So that's the plan as of now. Something like that. Okay, well, that's it for me. And thank you all for stopping by. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays. Happy New Year, all of that. And I will see you in the new year. Bye-bye.